aired during the 1988 presidential election. The ad, deployed by George H.W. Bush to attack Michael Dukakis's record on crime, helped to sink Dukakis's candidacy with a blatant appeal to the racial fears of white voters. And Saturday, amid the government shutdown, Donald Trump took a page from that same playbook when his campaign released this ad attacking Democrats on immigration.
That's illegal immigrant Luis Bracamontes, charged with murdering 2 police officers. It's pure evil. President Trump is right. Build the wall. Deport criminals. Stop illegal immigration now. Democrats who stand in our way will be complicit in every murder committed by illegal immigrants.
Let's bring in Maria Hinojosa, host of NPR's Latino USA, Republican strategist Evan Siegfried, Republican political consultant Shermichael Singleton, and Jennifer Rubin of The Washington Post. And Maria, your reaction to that ad?
Actually, when I first saw it, I said, well, they're right on point. They know exactly the message that they're getting out, and they're hammering that message. But can we look at the actual data in terms of the polling? And of course, polling is difficult. But right now, about 80% of the American public and the majority of Republicans basically support DACA. So in some ways, that's contradictory with what we're seeing with that imaging, that very effective imaging, because they are hitting it on the target, that Latinos, immigrants of all types are criminals. But what they're not understanding is that it's going to have another impact. There are people who are basically saying, I mean, what they're doing is that they are looking out in their community and they're saying, wait a second, we have all of this immigration around us. Is it really this terrible? So they're basing their decision-making, how they feel about DACA, on reality as opposed to that kind of imaging. But I asked, when we were talking for a second, I said to Evan, where's the Democratic messaging in response? Where is the Democratic, what is the message? Because the DACA young people right now are quite devastated. You know that, Joy.
Of course.
And I'll just end by saying, trying to flip it, they are actually giving us a lesson in extraordinary American spirit because they're American kids.
Yeah.
What do you do in the United States? You hold firm, right?
Yeah.
So they are actually doing self-care, which is something so deeply American, and they're just going to work every day.
Yeah. And you know, Evan, as that is happening, as you have DACA kids, you know, I think it's 150 a day are losing their DACA status while this debate is going on. You have Republicans who are literally going right back to the playbook of Brown Scare. It was Black Scare when Lee Atwater was doing the Willie Horton ads for George Herbert Walker Bush, and now it's Black Scare. And Benjamin Wallace Wells has a really great piece in the New Yorker, and he talks about the fact that the shutdown is not just about the shutdown and funding the government. It's about who gets to be an American. And here's a little clip where he says, much of the intensity and the darkness of the 2016 presidential campaign evolved from the challenge Trump and the Republicans raised to the basic matter of identity, of who counts as an American and under what terms. A central question regarding the Dreamers. Neither side could put aside the Dreamer issue because it captures the essential argument of the Trump era, and on this, Republicans and Democrats do not agree. Is it wise, in your view, as a Republican strategist and a millennial Republican strategist, for Republicans to essentially run on brown people are rapists, murderers, and killers, and therefore do not belong in America?
After Steve Scalise was shot in June, you and I had a heated debate about what is acceptable in tone and when we're discussing the issues. And I said it's really wrong for anybody to say one side wants to kill other people or is responsible for that. The same applies here. That ad is disgusting, it's racist, it's fear-mongering, and it's a giant dog whistle. And we're going to pay the price as a party in the long term because the country is becoming more and more diverse. At the same time, the president talks about how important illegal immigration and confronting it is. But he isn't confronting it. He's doing things that aren't even conservative. He talks about how we need a wall. Well, he said since he took office, illegal border crossings on the southern border are down 73%. At the same time, he's not confronting what has accounted for 42% of illegal immigrants in the United States and 2/3 since 2014, which are visa overstays. You could just have to fly into JFK, LaGuardia, LAX, and you just overstay your visa. The president hasn't talked about it at all. Then with the wall, he abandons conservative values and conservative principles when he says, we're going to build a wall. He doesn't talk about how he's going to have to seize tons of private property from Americans using eminent domain, which conservatives are rightfully up in arms about. But he says, oh, it's not going to be a big deal. I know how to build, and eminent domain's a lovely thing. That's not conservative. It's just a guy who's obsessed with a wall, and somehow the Mexicans